Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show podcast. Today is Wednesday, July 7th, and with me, I've got Harvey Freed. Hey, Harv.
What's happening, Harry?
Excellent. I'm doing well, and I know you're doing well. Coming off a long weekend, we hope that Becky, Ellie, John Kolb are going to join us. Lisa's off for the long weekend. So listen, we're coming off a long July 4th weekend. I hope everybody had a good time. Hope everybody was safe out there. And Harvey, I got to tell you, this is why people live in Michigan, right?
Here's where the weather's great. Exactly.
We live for maybe 90 days in the state of Michigan for great weather in the summertime, from Memorial Day weekend all the way through Labor Day weekend. That's when we're at our best. Not to mention if you ice fish, if you ski, if you do all those kind of things. But so I'm a summer guy. I know, Harvey, that you like the summertime. You're out on the boat all the time. That's why you're so tan and look so good today. But the weekends around here, when the weather is nice, especially a long weekend, Harvey, you can see why people love the summertime in Michigan. And, you know, I'm just happy to be back. And what a way to come back from a long weekend where, Harvey, first thing in the morning, I go to a closing, and it's a young couple buying their first home. They had, again, multiple offers, multiple properties. They finally got an offer accepted on the house that they really wanted. And going to that closing, and by the way, the closing was with a realtor friend, realtor partner of yours. It couldn't have been any nicer. Very special, young couple holding hands at a closing. And Harvey, that's what we like to see, right?
Yeah, there's no doubt, Harry. Those are the best times. We put all this work in. They're working hard too, these buyers, and going out there. And like you said, Harry, multiple offers are definitely what you have to be up for. You have to have extra money. It helps if you have a 401k, if you need an extra $5,000, $10,000 or $20,000 to fall back on. If you don't have parents or a direct family member that can help you with the gift to make up the difference. But if you do, then homeownership is wonderful. And buying a house in the summer in Michigan, Harry, they're out there, you're meeting the neighbors. Like you said, these are all the reasons why we do what we do. There's some value that I even receive after all these years. Besides, of course, economically, this is what I do for a living, and it's nice to make a living and get paid handsomely. But when you're helping people, there's something else involved in it, and you're setting them up for success. And these end up being lifelong friends. Just this last couple of weeks here, I've had 2 closings. I did 2 closings for families where I'm doing the kids now. You know, I don't want to say that we're getting older and we're going to be collecting Social Security soon enough. But then there's no doubt about it, Harry. After being in the industry for 30 years, now I'm doing the children of the clients we did 25 and 30 years ago at the office, and that was fun last week. And you know, I remember the kid was a baby, so now I'm showing up to his closing with a 5th of Crown Royal. And we're toasting, and we're looking forward to all the great family stories he's going to have as he raises his family there.
Well, as you could tell, everybody out there who's listening, we're pretty transparent when we tell people we're showing up to closings with alcohol. But at any rate, Harvey, I will say this. For everybody out there, it takes in this market, which we know is a seller's market with multiple offers, the real estate market, overbidding. Again, don't miss that inspection. The however is that it's very nice when there's a success story. This couple that I'm talking about looked at over 20 homes, put in 6 or 7 offers, and finally got one. Don't be discouraged. Finally got one accepted. They love the house. And then when you go to the closing and you could see the buyer and seller getting along, this seller, when it's all said and done, the seller's getting their money and that's it. But, you know, I asked the seller, because there were multiple offers. I said, why did you end up selling to this lovely couple? He said, you want to know why? Because I wanted them to have the house so they could start on the next phase of their life. I've lived in the house long enough. I wanted to sell it. I wanted to move on. I really didn't have any plans to sell, but I talked to my realtor. My realtor said, hey, if you're planning on moving, this is a great time to sell, which it is. There's a plethora of buyers out there in the market. And he had 5 or 6 offers on the home. He chose our buyer because A, they wrote a letter, B, they're a nice young couple as it was portrayed by the listing agent, and the 2 agents got along, Harvey. I mean, a shout out to Missy Rudin. I mean, she was phenomenal in the whole transaction. What a great person. What a very, very nice person. And it worked out magically for this buyer and this seller. And seemingly there are no problems. I also volunteered, Harvey. I volunteered the fact that I am not going to help them move in. It is not going to happen. Right. I'm not lifting boxes and everything like that. We did all the heavy lifting made possible by all their strong documentation, everything they provided during the pre-approval process, Harvey. The pre-approval process. So I know you have a lot to share about the pre-approval process and getting people ready to make that offer.
Yeah, more than ever before, these words mean something. The pre-approval, the pre-qualification, these are different meanings. And we broke it down and we sent a mass email out to a lot of people out there trying to educate so that you're prepared for home ownership, any of the listeners out there. That pre-approval, Harry, is the next step. It's where the client has gathered up all their documents pertinent to their personal file, and we're able to complete an application, submit it in the system. So now we've got the automated underwriting through, let's say, through FHA, through the Federal Housing Administration, or through Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. Now we've got the golden ticket that says, if you've got the documentation and we have the approved eligible, your buyers are as good as cash buyers. That's something that's really real. That's real stuff in today's marketplace, because we are still receiving the calls of families that are making offers and they're not truly pre-approved. They might have a piece of paper from another lender they called willy-nilly across the country. Someone suggested something. And Harry, we quickly ask these clients, when I ask someone and they say, well, Harvey, I'm already pre-approved somewhere else, I always ask them, have you submitted your documentation? Harry, more than 90% of the time, the answer is no. Probably way more than 90%. Yeah. So again, if we could urge our clients in today's competitive market, go ahead and take that next step, get those documents together and get that real approval letter so that we're able to tell the listing agent we're going to be able to close in 30 days.
Yeah. So then another part of my day coming back from the long weekend, Harvey, which, me and long weekends, I'm just not used to them. I get ants in my pants. I got to get back. I got to do something. Well, I went to another closing yesterday, and everybody, by the way, going to a closing for your clients, it's a show of support. They don't expect you to go there because not a lot of people attend closings. And when you show up, it just brings everybody together, and I believe it makes the transaction complete. So I went to another closing yesterday, a vacation property in Florida, Harvey, and we do loans all over the country. Florida is our second best state. Because as you know, everybody in Michigan moves down I-75, right? That's what they do.
That's right.
So I went to the closing vacation property. We do a lot of vacation properties, whether it be up in northern Michigan, down the I-75 corridor, out west, down in the southwest in Arizona and Texas. We do a lot of them. So I went to the closing, happened to be here. The property is in Florida, as I mentioned. And these people were so ecstatic about buying this property. And they too, Harvey, had been looking for 2 years. And for 2 years, they finally found a place. And they were just very, very happy that they're going to be able to spend time and bring their family down in the winter times to the state of Florida. So it was a very satisfying day to see these people in both of these closings. And we do hundreds of closings a day, but I mean, when you're able to attend a closing and see the joy that it brings to people, for me, again, like you said, I think that's what it's all about. That's why we've been doing this so long. If you didn't get any gratification out of it, why would we do it?
Harry, Becky's joining us also on the podcast now. And Becky and I, we were just talking last night about coming on this weekend show because we're having one of our Florida loan officers who's right there on the West Coast, and he's bringing on a Florida builder who's got all sorts of knowledge on families in Michigan. They're buying up there. The construction's a little different, and you have to know there's wind insurance, there's hurricane-proof homes. There's a lot to know down there.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited to kind of compare and contrast between, what is going on with the new construction in Florida. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you have flood insurance, you have hurricanes, you have all these extra elements that we in Michigan are kind of spoiled and we don't have to really, in essence, worry about, right? We're fortunate to have water access and beautiful lakes and beautiful views, but we don't have hurricane status or, things like that. So I'm excited to kind of hear what he says about the lumber and how those things are, are they experiencing those costs? Are they adjusting those sales prices on people last minute like we have experienced here in Michigan? So I do want to hear a little bit about that. And because there's a lot of snowbirds, right? So a lot of Michiganders per se, right, run down to Florida or over to Arizona during the winter months because like Harry was mentioning earlier that, we live for our 90 days and the ones that don't live for the 90 days, they are skedaddling down to Florida when it's not, when it's snowing out.
Yeah. Hi, Becky Ellie. Good morning. And I want to say this. I kind of want to hear what he has to say too. This is on the western. It's the Gulf side. It's between Naples and Tampa, and we're going to hear what they have to say. I'm really anxious because we have a lot of realtor partners up here. We have some down there, but it's going to be interesting because I think new construction in Florida is going gangbusters, and I think this guy's going to confirm that. I also believe that he's going to tell us about the prices, how he had to raise his prices, how the labor's hard to get. I think he's going to have to tell us that the materials are skyrocketing. So to have that kind of confirmation and to hear it from literally the horse's mouth, the builder's mouth, it'll be a lot of fun. Becky, you heard us when we came on the show. Long weekend, coming off a great long weekend here in Michigan, coming back to some real life stories, real life situations. And, first time home buyers, they're adorable. Anyways, they're so happy to be moving into the house. And, what do you got for me in real life experiences today?
I mean, we started off, at least with like me and like my team, the people that help assist me. And we started off the month at July 2nd with 8 files that were clear to close, right? So you had a lot of first time home buyers, had quite a few of them that were within that 8 that were very excited to hear that news, right? It's almost like letting that air out of the balloon. So even though you can tell a first time home buyer, hey, it's great, everything's fine, they're literally holding their breath until you say clear to close because when you're going through the buying process, you've never done it before, especially obviously if you've been a first time home buyer. So there's a lot of first time experiences of extra documentation that they've never had to provide. So when you can finally say, hey, guess what? We're clear to close. Enjoy your long weekend. And, right after the holiday, we're going to set you up and give you those keys. It's a humbling experience, because sometimes when you've been in the business for such a long time, I feel like some people forget what it was like to kind of close on that first transaction. And, it's almost like it's such a rewarding experience when they are so grateful. One of them even cried on the phone with me because she was like, this has been a lifelong dream. And I'm happy to be a part of that. We all are happy to be a part of that. We literally get to be a notch in their life, their history, right? They're never going to forget the first time they bought a home and who helped them achieve those goals. And I love being a part of that. I really do.
So I get a text last night. The text says, hey, Harry, just want to thank you for taking care of my daughter. I really appreciate it. Look, if that doesn't get you, if that doesn't help you understand and give you perspective of why you're doing this, I don't know what will. And it still excites me. It gets me going. It makes me more motivated to do a great job for people. And that's what we try to convey. So without getting too sappy, let's move on to something else. Becky, and then I'll go to Harvey. Sitting at these closings, guys, yesterday, market conditions, right? Slowing down or still going strong? Becky Ellie, market conditions, slowing down or still going strong?
I don't know. I have 3 purchase agreements sitting on my desk just from yesterday that says that it's not slowing down. I feel like buyers are now, there's a window that's opening that buyers are able to get their offers accepted because there has been a little bit more inventory hitting the market because naturally that's just what happens in the summer months. But I don't see it slowing down. If houses are sitting an extra 3 days on the market, whoop-de-doo. But it is opening up the doors for some of these buyers that got beat up for the last 6 months, trying to get into these homes, that now that there's a little bit more inventory, more offers are starting to get accepted just naturally. And so I don't see it slowing down anytime soon.
Harvey Freed, market conditions, slowing down or still going?
I'm going to say that it's still going strong. Yeah, there's just so many buyers out there. So we continuously will see this happen throughout 2021. There's no way they're going to be able to build new homes. So there's an interesting nuance that's going on out there. As busy as it is, all these agents need to come up with transactions here. Maybe we're lucky. We're a different part of this real estate industry. We loan the money. So families that already own homes, they're able to come to us for a refinance. they're able to redo their mortgage to benefit themselves, drop the term, drop the interest rate, consolidate debt. Well, the real estate agents are in a little bit different predicament. Their real estate world has to do with inventory. And you can't snap a finger and have 500 houses built and all this availability of homes. So they're reaching out. There's something really interesting going on. Real estate agents are reaching out and to their buyers of the past. These people just bought homes 2 and 3 years ago. And the conversations they're having with them are a little interesting. I don't like them. They're telling them, look, you got $35,000 of equity in your house. You need to sell it and move. But they're forgetting to tell them that where are they moving to? Mm-hmm. And I understand their desperation. And I'm going to have a tough call with a younger real estate agent later this afternoon to say, you're sending me people that they're questioning where are they going to move to. So again, as much as we all would like to take that chunk of money, that's okay if you're going to downsize and move down to one of these Florida, Georgia, here, or Arizona, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina, one of these vacation destination homes where you're going to live the rest of your life out. That's great if you have that plan. But if you think you're going to sell your house locally in the Tri-County area, anywhere in the United States, take the proceeds and you're just going to be able to go buy a home. Well, you're going to be in that same tough predicament of overpaying. And if you are in that predicament, it might not be something you want to do in today's market.
Yeah, and speaking with the realtors yesterday, they still have, and this addresses the question, market conditions slowing down or still going. I could tell you this, that the two realtors I was sitting at the table with yesterday, they have many buyers waiting for properties. They also told me, and this was the statistic that they gave me, July 1 last year compared to July 1, 2021, there are half the listings on the market that there were last year. This is their statistic. It's not my statistic. So what does that mean? That means that the market conditions are still going on. But as you stated, Harvey, there's just less inventory. And by the way, where are you going to move? Yeah, you could sell the house. Now, if you're willing, Harvey, and there's nothing wrong with this, if you're willing to sell a house because you think you're going to get the highest price that you can get, and you're willing to go rent and sit on the sidelines before re-entering the market, exactly. That is a strategy. That is a strategy, Becky, Alley, and Harvey Freed. But what I'm saying to you is that where are you going to go? So I believe this. The answer to the question is market conditions slowing down or still going strong, lack of inventory. Where are you going to go? How long is it going to continue? Well, kids are going back to school, so it's going to probably continue through September, middle of October. And then we have to wait and see. If more inventory comes on the market, then there are going to continue to be more sales. I think that it's a real wait and see situation. But as of right now, next 90, 120 days, I think it's still going on. Anyway,
I think to your point, what you just said, I mean, I know for a fact that there are some people that have sold their house that are, in fact, they're cool. They're taking their money and they're just going to sit on it. They're literally some of them have entered into month-to-month leases that I've spoken to, and they're waiting. So to that point, it is very valid. They're just sitting on the money, or they're trying to, if they are building, they're literally going to rent for month to month for the next 6 to 9 months, sit on that money, let it collect its interest. And then they're going to re-enter it, hopefully, when they're thinking in the, late fall when it's a little bit more settled.
Where do they go, Becky? Where do they head to? And they're going to do that. Great plan.
Apartments.
But they've got an alternative house. They've got another place.
Yep.
Well, I know a couple, Harvey, just so you know, real life example, and then we'll move on. Yep. First of all, I want to mention the podcast is brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, always powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender, NMLS number 2289. Thank you, compliance people and our legal team, for mentioning that to me in my ear. I appreciate that. Also, the program and podcast and radio show heard every Saturday morning, 9 to 10 a.m. Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, is produced by none other than world famous Roberto Beauchene, produced and directed by him. He is an industry expert and a professional. So we get onto these things and we say to ourselves, you know what? Rates are still very low, very, very, very low. So we're doing a lot of refinance business, but why again? I have to bring it up. It's like blocking and tackling. The fundamentals are, Becky Alley, we have to go over certain things every week. What are you waiting for? Conversation yesterday, real life example. Well, Harry, I hear rates are going down. Okay, they might go down an eighth, but when they start going up, it'll be a quarter to a half to 3/4 of a point. Why are you nickel and diming? And what are you waiting for, Becky Alley? What are they waiting for? Killing me here.
I don't know. Nickeling and diming is so true. I feel like when the rates are the lowest they ever are or were, that's when people get meticulous over saving $5 versus, and then when they go up, they're like, crap, I missed it. So now I'm not going to save that $5. Now I'm paying $20 more because I want to save $5, right? So it definitely doesn't make sense. We preach it, we talk it, we live it, we breathe it, we see it. The rates sometimes, if it's a hot day, the market's hot, you might see rate changes 2 or 3 times in one day. So what Harry is saying is that when the rates go down, they don't go down as fast as they go up. Right. And in a market where there's turmoil, sometimes we'll get a reprice where that means that the rate went up in almost a quarter in one day. It just depends on what's happening. So the point that we're always making is if it makes sense, do it now, because we never know what's going to happen. You never know what's behind the, door number 3. Right. But if it makes sense and you can tap into that equity, if you're wanting to pay off some of that toxic debt or pull money out for that pool that you want, versus having a vacation home or whatever you're going to do, the sooner you have the conversation with a professional, the sooner you're going to have answers, because you can drive yourself crazy with the what about this and what about that and what about this. You don't know until you actually speak with someone at Capital Mortgage Funding or wherever that's going to answer those questions directly. And we can say, yes, hey, look, on paper, it totally makes sense. But ultimately, you are going to be in the driver's seat. But if you're holding back over a 3.125 versus a 3%, I mean, it's being silly at that point.
That's great. I love that information, Becky. And you couldn't have said it better yourself or myself or Harvey's self or John Kolb's self. Harvey Freed, let's talk. I'm going to give you the third to last word today. Last topic for you is going to be, listen, you see all kinds of things on TV. My cousin just called me before we got on the podcast. He got another email from a national lender who was actually servicing his loan, saying that they could do this and do that. It didn't look right to him. I told him to send it to me. It's just another mass solicitation that they're trying to gouge him for point money, for higher costs. They can't get him the rate. And look at Harvey. It's what we go through every day. It's kind of our problem, nobody else's problem. I want people to send us every solicitation, email, and everything they get. Just send it to us and we'll figure it out. If it looks good, Harvey Freed, what are we going to tell them to do?
Well, tell them good luck and give us a call if there's any issues along that ride. The problem is, as we know, Harry, we've been doing this for over 30 years and there's always issues. In fact, Harry, the issues start up front. The first thing is they go to the mailbox and they receive a solicitation of mail from a complete stranger. And the first relationship they have is that stranger hold the recorded records down at a county. So they're automatically starting off the relationship sort of with like, look, I already looked at your diary and read it last night. Now I'm going to, try to find a way to get over on you. And now they're reading scripts, Harry. They're not real loan officers. Harry, they didn't learn the old fashioned way. They're reading scripts. Those scripts are designed to fool clients and borrowers. And no matter how much we've educated our borrowers over the last 30 years, Harry, they see this piece of mail. It has a Fairway in the corner, or Capital Mortgage Funding, or Fairway, our office, and they're automatically thinking it's us reaching out to them, and it's not. So it's a shame on everyone. That's what I'm going to say. If your first relationship with somebody is that they sort of went and got your name from a bathroom wall, a recorded deed down at the county, that's not a good place to start. That's just not a good place to start.
Well, hey, as always, Harvey, I appreciate your passion, your enthusiasm, your articulation. Sometimes leave me something to be desired, but I understand what you're saying, and I can translate it really well working with you for 30 years. So I really appreciate the passion and enthusiasm that you bring. Becky Alley, you get the second to last word today.
All right. So to that point, yes, you get these solicitations. I've talked to 2 of my previous clients that came, called me after the fact and they actually ended up, someone solicited them, whatever. They thought it was their current service or it wasn't, whatever happened. They felt comfortable. And they ended up putting them in an FHA streamline when they had no business being in an FHA streamline. When they have so much equity, it was time to remove the mortgage, the PMI, and put them in a conventional mortgage, which is why I was contacting them. Behind the scenes, we often kind of move some numbers around to see if something's going to make sense. We don't solicit just to solicit. We solicit when it makes sense. So we kind of do some stuff behind the scenes to say, hey, okay, when did they first purchase, or when's the last time to refi? We look at the market value, and then we contact our clientele and just be like, hey, look, you know what? I ran some numbers. I think this is going to make sense, but let's talk about it. And we leave it at that. Well, come to find out, they did an FHA streamline, and they're like, I'm so sorry. I didn't know, et cetera. And it made no sense for them to do a streamline, because now they're just once again paying PMI or mortgage insurance when they shouldn't. So we're still able to work it out for them. But that's exactly what Harvey is speaking on, is sometimes that wizard or the little garbage gnomes that send you stuff in the mail, they don't really have your best interest at heart, because they haven't done their due diligence to really look at what's going to be the best program. They're just trying to look for a quick flip to get their foot in the door. So if you get something in the mail, call us, we'll advise you one way or the other, give us our best advice, but obviously you are always in the driver's seat. We're just here to give you our professional advice and guide you in the best way we know how.
Yeah, even if you have a relationship with somebody and you want to use us as a sounding board, we're not looking to take that relationship away. We just want to make sure that you're getting the best deal for you and your family. We'll take a look at it, and hopefully it's the best deal. Also, want to thank Harvey and Becky, two of the best in the business for a very, very long time. You guys are always great, always knowledgeable, extremely objective, truthful. That's what we want to bring here. We want to let everybody know that we offer our consulting services, never cost anybody anything, period. You don't have to write us an application fee check. We don't take any money before we do anything. That's not our MO. If people are charging your credit card up front $500 and then they want to start the process, no, we're exactly the opposite. Get us all your stuff. We'll see if we can do the transaction for you and make sure that we can do it. And then we'll go ahead and start the process for you. But there is never any cost, never any obligation with us. And that's how we operate. Also, last but certainly not least, join us on the show this weekend from 9 to 10, 97.1 FM. Becky, Harvey, myself. We're going to have our builder partner from Florida, and along with our loan officer in from Florida. And you guys will meet him for the first time. I'll have that as a surprise guest. And we'll just go from there. So for Harvey Freed, Becky Alley, Lisa Lawson, hopefully next week, as well as John Kolb, Roberto Beauchesne, our producer and director. Thank you, everybody out there. This is Harry Glantz for the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding, powered by Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, equal housing lender, NMLS number 2289. There it is, compliance, people. Have a great Wednesday, July 7th, and we will talk to you soon. We'll come back at you. View us on Facebook. Go to YouTube. Go to the podcast stations, outlets, whatever they're called. I'm old. I don't know the proper technical term, Harvey, but I do know this. Thank you for being on our podcast, and we'll see you soon.